John Michael.
Karen.
Carrie. Seeing all my friends here that I know. Hello, everybody. Thanks for jumping in today. We have Jen with us today from Integrity Title. She's going to be co-hosting with us a little bit because these trainings are going to be sponsored by Integrity Title.
Good morning.
So what do you know today?
It's almost the weekend, kind of.
So 4th of July is coming.
Yes.
Everybody getting ready for the 4th?
Yeah.
All right. So guys, here's the format today. Jen's going to give us a little title information. I think if we get Michael on here, you'll open up his mic there, Byron. And we will open it up for questions at the end. Thanks for tuning in today because this is next. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but next Wednesday will be the day after another form release, a very important form coming out. The new buyer's agreement, the mandatory buyer's agreement, will be out on the 9th. So the next Wednesday update is going to be the next day, the 10th. So very important to start jumping in here. We're going to try to keep them timely for you. We have it scheduled for 30 minutes. If we have questions and need to stay on longer, that's fine. But we will go from there. What do you know, Jen?
Maybe I'll just introduce myself.
That would be a good start.
Cool.
All right.
Nice. I'm Jen Crawford. I am with Integrity Title, and I've been in the industry about 15 years. Started in the Sarasota area and moved up to Clearwater about 3-4 years ago now. Got married, so
that'll do it. That'll make you move every
this
time.
Area. So I found Integrity Title this past February. So I'm super happy to be here. If you have any questions along the way, title-wise, shoot them out. We can sort of touch on whatever you need.
Yep. So.
You had been looking at slides and demos, but I thought I'd pop on and let you see my face, make sure that you can hear me. So let me know in the chat that you can hear me.
Somebody's got a mic on. Can somebody mute their mic so we don't get. But so Jen's here to help you guys understand too how to get paid. That's going to be, there might be some little changes going on moving forward. So any title related questions, you've got resources. Jen is killing it over there. I've heard great things from you from the owner of the company, no less. So they're very impressed with your background and knowledge about the industry. So guys, we always want to make sure you have resources available. You got a title question, call Jen. Call Tina,
Absolutely.
Call Byron, get a hold of somebody. We want to get your questions answered. So today's going to be a quick little reminder update of last week so we know where we're at. The changes, our drop dead date, I hate to use that term, but is August 17th. Everything will change as far as the practices moving forward. So the compensation field in the MLS is going to be removed on the 6th. Okay, so August 6th, the compensation field comes out. You won't have the ability to offer compensation. So understand the forms are here to keep us straight, and the fields in the MLS are going to keep us straight because they're not going to allow us to do things that could get us in trouble with the antitrust behavior that we, that's why we're here with these changes. So one question we're getting a lot of is what happens if I have a listing today and it doesn't sell and I have it after August 17th? So we don't have a direct answer for you. Our best hope and anticipation is that there will be a modification form. I believe that's coming out on the 28th or 23rd, I'm sorry, July 23rd. So you're going to take your existing listing and be able to take a one-pager modification form and get it in compliance with the new policy changes. If that's not the case, there's a good likelihood that we're going to have to redo listing agreements. Now with a brokerage the size of ours, we keep 1,100 listings in-house all the time. Logistically, that's some work, guys. You're going to have to work with us, understand that this could be the case, and we're going to use the best information and knowledge. And we're in constant contact with the industry leaders, with NAR, with some of the top producing people, big brokerages, I should say, nationwide brokerages, and with Florida Realtors. I'm a director on Florida Realtors. We have a direct line to Joanna Watkins' legal team over there, and we're talking to them regularly on what happened on the 9th. So on July 23rd, the listing agreement will be coming out, and it says a listing modification. So we're anticipating that modification's going to suffice for you. The thing I would do if I was taking a listing right now, I would have a talk track going with my seller, letting them know I may be coming back to you in August on the 17th or prior to that to get some forms changed. You would definitely if it doesn't sell. Now, if it goes pending under the former listing agreement, you're going to be okay. Okay, so you're going to be fine. You're going to work forward on that. If it falls apart and you have to get it back on the market, that's when you're probably going to have to bring in a whole new listing altogether, or at the very least, a modification. So here's our big one, guys. I know we don't have everybody. We have a really large sign up and turnout anticipated for our program at Pro on the 18th. We're going to have a panel of experts there. We are not sure the contract's going to be out by then. It's been postponed twice. They're trying to get this contract to be in concert with all the other documents, the MLS fields. You understand they had 30 plus years of fine tuning that as is contract, and now they're having to, make sure they make the appropriate changes. So the legal staff has their hands full over there, that's for sure. But on the 23rd, we're going to have another document drop. But on the 18th, guys, I would strongly encourage you to be there. Your brokers are going to be there. We're going to have Michael Heath, a real estate attorney, there, giving his best spin on what's going to happen. But I will tell you, Michael's playing as is contract class. It's one of the best classes I've ever been to. He will tell you things about that contract and legal nuances in it that you won't get anywhere else. I haven't in all my years in the business. So you definitely want to be there. We're going to have insurance update going on as well with Bernardo, and we'll have Michael Cochran there as well, talking to us about how hopefully these changes are going to be financed into the loan for the buyers.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of questions for going on with title. I was asking Byron the other day, hey, what goes on if you have a buyer's agreement and now the buyer can't pay? Do we still close? Do we not close? We know on listing that could be different, but we will see as these shake out. So that's moving forward. Again, I'm going to reiterate, after the 17th, guys, you're going to have a signed buyer's agreement. We've already made the field mandatory in Ruttenberg Files. That took place, I think, Monday. So if you go to create a buyer's file, you'll see that there's a field in there, a mandatory field for a buyer's agreement. That is mandatory. Now, we will give you a little grace until the 17th, actually until about the 6th of August. But you're going to have to, if you go to create a buyer's file, you don't have a signed buyer's agreement, you will need to message the staff within the file, like, hey, I don't have a buyer's agreement on this. I'm very aware that I will have to, beginning in August, have one, but I don't have one on this one, and you'll get a pass. They'll give you a little do-over on that one. So that's going on. The buyer's agreement's going to have to address compensation. As I told you all prior many times, I would go ahead and put in what my compensation would be, even if I talk to a buyer that says, I don't have any money to pay you, or I only have 1%. If you normally charge 3%, or whatever that percentage may be, I think it may actually be going up with what's going to happen out there. Put it in there. You can always negotiate it down if you wind up getting that buyer into a property that you just can't get the full 3%. The buyer doesn't have it, the seller's not offering a full amount between the combination of the both, maybe you're not getting it. Then you can always go back and modify it down. What they're not going to let you do is modify it up. That has been a sticking point for the DOJ. They say people didn't realize that the buyer's agent was maybe getting 1% from the buyer, and they were getting paid, and they were getting more money than anybody knew. That's a sticking point, and that's not going to happen moving forward. So, all right, that's a mouthful for you so quick, and most of it is a recap of what we've already talked about. How compensation? How are you going to get paid? That's how are we going to ensure you're going to get paid? The seller can pay the buyer's broker. We know that. You can, and I'm going to suggest to you that the safest way to negotiate your commission is going to be through the contract, which is exactly opposite of what we told you for 20 years. We said you're not a party to the contract, stop putting your commission in the contract, it's unenforceable. We have been told now the exact opposite. So that's a good way. So let's just recap some practices stuff, guys. If I'm working with a buyer's out there and I'm the buyer's agent, and that buyer just flat out tells me I've only got X%, I'm not going to get you paid what you want, I'm still going to make that offer of that property with my commission in the offer of compensation. Or I'm sorry, in additional terms of the contract. And at that point, what you can do is just simply have it countered. It would be like any other term of the contract. Like, I'm offering X and they say I don't want to take X, they can counter it back. If you're asking for 3%, you can put it in there to say pay the buyer's broker. You could say an amount for buyer's closing cost and then have an agreement with the buyer. Now you have the money negotiated in the contract and you have an agreement to make sure you get paid. So there's ways to do this. Don't want you panicking. So the sellers can give a concession to the buyer, we know that, and the buyer can pay the buyer broker. I think what you're going to see is that the value of a good buyer's agent is going to be more on the line here than it's ever been before. Especially if buyers go out there and try it alone, and they don't know how to prepare an offer, they don't know how to negotiate the terms, they don't even know the right language to write, and they get a little frustrated. They may say, like if it was me and my wife buying it, honey, let's have a conversation. Maybe we need to hire a realtor. You know, I can see that conversation happening. And then there's going to be a lot of different ways you can get paid, a flat fee. You might work with one buyer that needs a lot more work than another buyer. You might work with an investor that's just like, all I need you to do is open doors for me and write a contract. I don't need you for inspections. I don't need you for financing contingency. I don't need you for any of that. So your level of work for that might be different, and you might have negotiated a different fee. I would think that's about out there. And the other thing too, I don't never want this to fall between the cracks. It has been shown, study and study again in this country, that people will pay for superior service. This is a time for you to offer superior service. And I mean everything. That might even mean picking them up at the airport. That might mean scheduling, finding them the best dry cleaning places, the best restaurants, which you should be doing anyway. So there's a lot going on out there. And this is an opportunity for you to separate yourselves out there. But so that's a recap on what we got. A mouthful, wasn't it?
That was awesome.
So
It's a lot of changes.
It is a lot of changes. Now, I'm going to bring up something just to let you know how this is a moving target, guys. The forms that came out last week, one of them is already being questioned at the DOJ level. So we don't know. This target is moving all the time. But the forms, the ways we just talked about, is one way we know, or gave you three solid ways we know you can get paid. One of the forms, we don't know about the commission sharing. The DOJ has come back and said, hey, we see California and Florida and several other states have come out with this form saying that the brokers can still share the seller's commission. They want it negotiated. I'm not saying it's off the table yet, but we're wired in, listening to the attorneys, because we've been doing a lot of that lately, and this is what we're hearing. So always remember, the best, safest way of moving forward is to negotiate it through the contract and or a buyer's agreement, which you're going to get paid. So one further thing, is Michael on by any chance? Is Michael Cochran on? No, all right. So one thing I want to bring up, guys, is I get a lot of emails from other offices. I get all these fast email flyers and stuff about the latest open house and price reductions and commissions and bonuses being offered. I am getting a lot of emails with 4% commission to a buyer's agent. And that is because of this article right here. You can't see it. Florida Realtors, usually my go-to source. Sellers are cutting prices in these cities. Prices are dropping, guys. Real estate's hyper-local. One neighborhood, one market, one zip code might still be thriving. Other neighborhoods and other zip codes may not be. And we know what's going on with insurance and all. And by the way, we have insurance people coming for you. For next Zoom, we'll have an insurance update for you as well. So the Realtor.com numbers, inventory of across the board, and this is nationwide, Realtor.com, has gone up almost 35%. So we're seeing the inventory come back up. It's the simple laws of supply and demand. We get plenty of supply, The demand will meet it in the middle. We know here in Florida, we now have over 6 months inventory in condos and single family homes. That's the midpoint. We know that, condos and townhomes. I said single family. Condos and townhomes are up over 6 months supply. 6 months supply is the equilibrium mark where they think it's a healthy market. Single family homes are now up over 3 months, approaching 4 months inventory. So we see where it's going. I need you to see where it's going, because I can tell you, typically, in my experience, sellers take 12 to 18 months to become real about that the prices may have dropped. The good agents are going to be able to have that talk track with the sellers, explaining to them, we're in a downward trending market right now. And this is where, the hyper-local thing will come in. You really need to look at where they are and where it's at. I would suspect flat would be a good number to stay at for a while, but downward trending. And I can tell you why. Your brokerage is large enough to see what's going on out there. We are getting inundated with calls from sellers that are upset with their agent because they want to cancel a listing because it didn't sell. And when a listing doesn't sell, it's the realtor's fault. It always is the realtor's fault. It's nobody else's fault. It's not the market. It's not the condition of their house. It's not the overprice. It's the realtor's fault. You need to understand that. I had my early first broker told me one time, sometimes it's better to be the second agent. Think about that for a second. Let the first agent get a reel. It might be easier for you to pass on a listing that you can't sell at that price, rather than disappoint the client. Let them know you're here for them. If you should decide to, if it doesn't work out with you with the agent from XYZ Realty, give me a call back. I just don't think I can help you at that price. That's a hard conversation to have, because most agents will take a listing for any reason. But I will tell you, if you don't mindset them right now, if you take it a little high, you're going to have the calls coming to us. They get upset. And this brings me to another point, guys. We are not in the business of making money off of canceled listings. I know some of you have called. We have some policy around here. You can have a $500 cancellation fee up to $1 million listing price. You can have $1,000 for anything above $1 million. Now, that doesn't mean that there's two lines in there. You can get directly reimbursed for your expenses from the seller for pictures and different things, and get the cancellation fee. The brokerage does not take any of the money that you get directly reimbursed from. We want you to understand that. That's your money. Keep your receipts, keep your, detail your stuff. So if you have a listing that has to cancel, and you get the cancellation fee and your direct marketing expenses. So, but the markets that are dropping the most, guys, across the country, there's 3 of them. The top three. One was Charlotte, North Carolina. Has nothing to do with us.
No.
Sorry for your luck, Charlotte. The other 2 were Jacksonville and Tampa. These are markets that really heated up in the last 4 years, the post-COVID world, and they are the ones that will correct the quickest. Now, the other side of that is it's not 2008, it's not 2009. We're not running into this mass foreclosure thing because there's a price drop. The vast majority, it's ridiculously high, the amount of people that have equity in their homes now because of the price increases. So if we have somewhat of a correction, that's fine. Where the work comes in, though, and honestly, a correction will trigger sales.
Sure.
So if we get corrections, I think the Fed will be watching and maybe lower interest rates, and maybe we'll get this perfect storm together to recreate some sales. Because let's be candid, guys, we have changes coming, but we've also had a tough market the last 18 months for most realtors. It's been down compared to 21 and 22. It just has. So that won't last forever. It will, I can tell you. So just be mindful of that. Jackson, the report stated that almost 29%, 28.6% of the homes in Tampa saw price reductions. That's almost 30% of the listed properties had to reduce their price to get them sold. So all of this plays in really well for these changes that are coming for you towards having to have buyer agreements signed. The buyers agents are going to be in demand. It's going to become more of a buyer's market, and actually I believe the switch has happened from what we see around here. So this is all good news as I see it. Like I said, I'm seeing emails come across all the time offering 4% to buyers agents, 3%, 4%. And I'm not talking new construction. I'm talking brokerages that are sending out a lot of times, instead of another price reduction, what I'm seeing, why don't we offer a bonus to the buying agent? Let's incentivize the selling troops is what's going on out there. So, guys, that's a recap. I want to open it up for questions. If anybody's got any questions out there, share. We will either put you on a mic, you can type them in, whatever. If you don't want to talk, talk. If anybody's seeing anything out there, tell us what you're seeing. All right, we can hear you. Compensation will be removed on August 6th. Yes. All right. Mike Penninger, all right, is currently written.
That's all us.
Okay, that's just us. All right.
So I might just add on the title side. Everything that Mike is saying is going to filter over to us as well. Of course, the agreements we're outside of, but in terms of closing, once you have your approved contract and you have your listing, a listing or buyer's agreement, we're going to be asking you for that. I know in the past we didn't necessarily ask for commission confirmation in writing, but since this is such a drastic change on, historically how this has been, we're going to be asking you for that document or whatever it is that you have in writing, especially, well, we're going to ask for you no matter what, but especially in the cases where the buyer is mortgaging the property. There are lenders who, for whatever reason, the loan program that they're working with their borrower has either a maximum or a minimum, cash brought to the table, and that can, with the commissions now being, potentially charged to the buyer, that could be a major thing. So the lender's going to need to know as early as possible what that agreement is, and we will be asking you for it, and we will be bugging you for it, of course. And as the changes happen, like Mike said, that could be, changed down a little bit over the course of the contract, being in process. And if that's the case, definitely we need to know that. So just count on, getting more communication from us in terms of those agreements and where they're at, and as we get closer to closing, that will ramp up even more. We're really going to need to make sure that we have that exactly right. So, because that's going to affect that buyer's cash to close.
Absolutely. Good job. And thank you for that information. And guys, I picked this up about a year ago. It was actually from Florida Realtors legal team, said, don't always have to be the source, just be the information of where the source is. This is going to be a moving thing, and for you guys to have resources like Jen, like Byron and Tina over at Integrity Title, whoever your lender is, whoever your insurance person is, and your brokers, it's going to be really important to be leaning on all of us. That's why we're doing these weekly workshops moving forward. This is going to be going on for some time, and we will be figuring out best practices as it hits. I'd like to reference what Carrie Crescentini has stated to us. I don't know if you all see it, but her seller offered a bonus, and it triggered 2 showings immediately. I mean, that's not accident. The buyer's agents are still very sought after because they have buyers. They have relationships with these people. And, when the market turns, listing agents have always been king for a long time lately. Buyer's agents might be king or queen, whatever it may be, moving forward as we get into a different market. Because if I have a buyer and you have 10 sellers, you really want me. And when it's the other way around, you really wanted us. So sellers got to really get away with whatever they wanted to for quite some time in the recent market because of conditions.
So can the seller bonus be in the MLS? Or?
It will not be after August 6th.
Okay, so nothing related to commission.
Nothing. So
not even separate flat bonuses. Okay.
No, but what you can do, you can email it, you can tell people.
Okay.
There's different ways you can get it out there. You just can't use the MLS
Gotcha.
to get that out there. In some states and some cities, Manhattan being one of them, they don't have an MLS. The brokerages that get all the business are the ones that already have their database of other brokers they've been working with. So when they get a new listing, you're going to have to be the same. You can do that as well now. There's different ways you're going to be able to offer it. They're going to find you via the MLS, which we all know turns into Realtor.com and Zillow and everybody else, Homes.com, immediately. These third-party sites are not going to let you aggregate that information. The key is you're going to have to answer your phone. I would probably have a pre-scripted text made back up too. If an agent's calling on 123 Main Street, boom, I just sent it to you. There it is. They're offering blank percent plus a selling agent bonus if there's a fully executed contract by a certain date. And by the way, if you're offering that seller bonus, always have an end date on it. You don't want to run off a promotion that's open-ended. you got to set urgency to it. So I'm offering you a bonus, but I want a contract by the 30th or whatever it may be. That's just marketing 101, sales 101. So what else is going on, guys? Open for questions. Anybody got questions out there? No? All right. Well, we will. What time is it?
Almost 10:30.
It's almost 10:30. So the most important thing I learned about meetings: start on time and stop on time. Guys, I know we didn't have a lot of new stuff to bring you today. This was kind of a recap, but you did get to meet Jen, and you did get to meet where they're going to be working through this too. These changes are going to be fluid. And you know, we watched this thing. I watched this lawsuit in slow motion for 4 years. I never thought it had a chance in heck to get where it did. But now it seems like it's moving really fast, and things are changing. So it's really a date, and again, for Pro Class, please. All right, Carrie, it is the 18th at 10 a.m., correct, Byron? 10 to 12. We have a room for 100. We already have the on-site filled. I would go ahead and join if you want to be in person. I think it's going to be an incredible place for you to be. But you can also log in with Zoom. I understand we're also going to record the Zoom, so if you can't make it, we'll have it Zoom, we'll have it in person, and we'll also have the Zoom recorded so you guys can get it later. But I will tell you, there will be a lot of good information shared there, and it'll be a great one to be to for you. Yes, it will be available Zoom. So you just go to the class calendar, register for it there. It'll give you two options, in person or Zoom. In person is already filled up. You can get on a waiting list, but I don't think that that's probably necessary. I think we're already over the waiting list, aren't we, Byron? So you can definitely do that. And as you see, Byron just gave you the site to go to. It's in your Ruttenberg calendar. Guys, you got to jump in on these Friday emails too that we send out. I know we send these out through BombBomb, so I would go look in your spam. It's an email generated from BombBomb. The company is called BombBomb. Try to get it out of your spam or whatnot, because we do hear that some agents aren't getting them. If you don't get the email, it always goes on your Ruttenberg dashboard. Right next to the class calendar button is a weekly CRR Connect button. We're trying to get information to you, and that is one of the places we can get it. We can post it there, and you can go look. So if there's any revelations that hit us, but from Zoom to Zoom, we're going to tell you on the Friday update as well. So be all over the calendar, guys. All right, if there's no more questions, I think I was a little late. Okay, got it. Any last questions before we go? Say goodbye to Jen. She's your new working industry partner right next door to us. Guys, use your resources.
We're here.
Yeah, Mike. Hey, Mike, what do you got? Is your mic on, Mike?
Yes.
All right, we got you. What's going on, Mike?
Where do I get this recording and other recordings for the other meetings that you've done?
YouTube. So we just started putting them on YouTube. We're filming this right now as we speak for YouTube. We will be putting these all on our YouTube channel, Charles Ruttenberg Realty. It is a new channel, so pop down on it. You might have to scroll a little bit because we don't have a ton of likes and shares yet. Go ahead and subscribe to it. But everything we're doing is going to be putting on there. All of our supplemental information as well. We think that's a place that's best to get it to you guys because you can get it at your convenience at that point.
Okay, so is YouTube, just search Charles Ruttenberg?
Charles Ruttenberg Realty. Yep, absolutely. And there's we're not the only. Yeah, that's the one. I got crazy eyes and those glasses right there. If anybody can see that, it's the glare in my glasses. They can't see it. Okay. I have my glasses on. Byron pulled the screen up. There you go. There's your site right there, guys. Thank you, Byron.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else before we shut you guys down? All right, we will see you next Wednesday, July 10th. We do have new forms to talk about, the very important buyer's agreement form. So we will see you guys all next week. Take care. Have a great 4th.